Hi. I'm filming on a new camera. I usually use this on my vlogging channel, but I wanted to use it today. I don't know why. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about summer. We're talking about TBRs. We're talking about goals that we will likely not reach, but it's always good to shoot for the stars. Namely, I have one book that I promise to finish this year. I'm not going to say this summer. You'll see why. I could kill a man with this. I'm joining hundreds, the thousands of people who are reading The Count of Monte Cristo for the first time. I've just seen so many people, I think even, was it Emmy that used this as her book club a couple years ago? I've just seen so many people picking it up and talking about how actually accessible and funny it is. I just think the length, it's 108. Oh, no, it's not 800. It's about 1,200 pages. I don't know. I was just very intimidated by this, and enough people have made it seem accessible that we're diving in. Apparently, it's funny as all hell, and I can't wait. So this is my main TBR of this year. I'm gonna really try this summer. I feel like just camping out next to the river with this, a little picnic and reading about the Count of Monte Cristo. Sounds like a great time. But if you have, like me, a book or perhaps a genre that you're intimidated by, you don't feel like you have the skills necessary to read it or really get the full benefit of it, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is Masterclass. And the reason this ties in perfectly is because on Masterclass, Billy Collins has a class about poetry. And I find that poetry is something that really intimidates me because I can recognize beauty, but I can't necessarily dig deeper than that. I know that there's so much more meaning hidden behind these words. So Billy Collins is a poet, if you don't know. He teaches a class literally of just how to read poetry in such an accessible and funny and just warm way. But not only that, Masterclass has such amazing classes in writing and world building. If you actually want to write yourself, they have classes taught by the likes of N.K. Jemisin, Joyce Carol Oates, for example. They're constantly adding new classes and they have something for everyone, whether it's learning the basics of economics or public speaking or being an astronaut. They really have something for everyone. And one feature I love is that now you can toggle on and off whether you want to listen to it as a podcast. So just while you're taking a walk, let Billy Collins teach you how to understand poetry. Let N.K. Jemisin teach you how to world build. I mean, it's truly an incredible resource. So I will have a link and a QR code here for you. If you use that, you can get 15% off of your subscription, which is usually $10 a month billed annually. Really, it's just such a fun time. They're produced so well. Thank you so much to Masterclass for sponsoring this. Again, link and QR code there for you. Why not dive into poetry this summer? I think that's what I also want to do. So come join me. Okay, but for my TBR, not only do I have The Count of Monte Cristo that I really want to read, I've had certain books out begging to be read for months. So let me grab this pile for you. Heave. Oh, yeah. All right. But before I dive in, I kind of want to rant. Is that okay? I feel silly talking about this because it's like complaining about people complaining, which, what does that do? But I've just been seeing this conversation going on a lot, and it came into my comment section because I recently posted a video about unpopular opinions. I read your unpopular opinions, gave my thoughts about them, and encouraged you to share yours in the comment section. My issue is, the issue that arose came from an unpopular opinion about physical books. And it kind of branched off from there. So just to give you the context, somebody said that physical books, there's no point. Unless it's your job, it's pointless to have physical books, which I disagreed with, and I talk about it in that video. But what a lot of people were bringing up is that, yes, having physical books is important for a plethora of reasons, but they linked it to overconsumption and also physical TBRs. And this is I was already planning on making a video about my summer TBR, but I'm starting this video in a different way because of those comments, because I was just confused by it. So overconsumption, I think that that's a totally separate issue that is very nuanced and talking about the environmental impacts of books, etc. However, I will say that the overconsumption of books feels like a very online thing. If you actually have bookish friends that are not online, this whole like book haul culture, etc., doesn't exist. You realize that it's actually a very small group of people online talking about it being this huge problem, you know, this epidemic of usually young women buying way too many special editions. I don't think it's as big of an issue as some people are making it out to be. But again, I think that that's a totally separate conversation we could be having. I'm not going to go too far into it. But what really confused me is people complaining about physical TBRs or TBRs in general. Huge TBRs, obscene TBRs. And my question is, why does that bother you? Why does that bother other people? That you have books that you want to read. So if you don't know, welcome to the bookish community. TBR means to be read. It's just like a to-do list, right? Books you want to read. For me, my TBR consists of books that I would like to read in this lifetime. I have multiple in my brain. I don't really have anything written down, but you know, in 2025, I would like to read The Count of Monte Cristo, for example. But this week I have 3 or 4 library holds due. So those are on the top of my TBR. I have books that maybe when I'm 100 years old, I'd like to read them, you know? So for me, why do people care about what my dreams are? Like what I'm dying to read? I think that people are tying it to overconsumption of like, why are you buying books when you aren't going to read them immediately? Books aren't like food. They're not going to go bad. I just don't like. When I travel, for example, I love to go to bookstores for the memories. You know, when I pick it up, I will remember like, oh, I bought this at Shakespeare & Co. in Paris, which I did. I bought the Cloud Atlas. I just don't quite get it. Like, first of all, I just don't get it in the sense of books do not need to be read immediately unless they are library books and you have to return them or they're borrowed from a friend. And I would say try to read those in a timely manner, but I'm also the worst at that. I have so many books from so many friends that they've lent me. So I don't understand it in that aspect, but I also just don't understand it in terms of why do people care? I remember recently there was a TikTok that kind of went viral about one girl saying that doing reading wrap-ups is bad because it pressures other people or it like makes them feel bad for not reading that much. You know, like, oh my God, I only read 1 book this month versus somebody else read 10.
The problem that I have with it is starting it out with, I read 15 books this month. I read 7 books this month. It's the number of books that I think is harmful, because that invites comparison, and I think that that is harmful.
No shade to this creator, because what she says is what she said, but what I want to say is her whole video is the equivalent of what somebody else eats don't make you shit. If you've never heard this saying, I need you to put this in your repertoire. You know what I'm saying? Because what somebody else is doing don't have shit to do with you. In the same month, if Jerry Curl only read 1 fucking book and then Big Wig read 20 books, this really means who the fuck cares? That's a personal problem. Jerry Curl needs to go do some self-reflection because that shouldn't matter.
Collectively as a community, we all agreed that that was kind of silly. That was a silly take, right? But what makes that any different from someone feeling pressured or hurt by someone's physical TBR or like someone's literally just a list of books I'd like to read? Why are people upset about it? How is that a negative thing, respectfully? I understand that there's a difference because people are purchasing books, which is also their business. But like, I don't see people getting upset about people's watch lists on Letterboxd or Netflix or whatever. I was thinking about it for the past couple days as I was getting more and more comments about this of people being upset about large TBRs. And would anyone like to make that make sense to me? Again, like if your issue is buying books, I don't know. I'm going to be talking about some books that I want to read over summer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But actually, let me go get my phone. I can tell you my current, absolutely must read, not a TBR, a MBR, my library holds. All right, I'll be right back. But yeah, sorry to rant. I just, like, we can judge other things, but a list of books somebody wants to read, I don't know. But here I am complaining about somebody complaining. So it's an Ouroboros. I don't know. Let me go get my library holds. Should we do it without the wide lens? Sure, why not? All right. Library holds. I'm opening Libby. Oh, I just got a notice that one of my books is going to be returned soon if I don't finish it. Jesus. Okay. Time is running out. Do you see that? Time is running out for Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. The only reason I haven't read it in the 21 days that I've had it is because it is only available on Libby or EPUB, and so I can't get it onto my e-reader and reading it on my iPad. Like, my iPad is just not ever charged, and I don't like reading on my phone. So usually when a book is new, it takes a while for the Kindle option to upload, but I've waited and it hasn't. So I'm going to try and read that really fast tonight. I don't know. There's a long holds list. But what I'm currently reading is Shattered, a memoir by Hanif Kureishi. It is about a writer, Hanif, who falls, just has a fall, a really bad fall. And he is paralyzed and he just dictates his thoughts to his wife, to his sons, who write it down for him as he is shuffled between hospitals, going through physical therapy, etc., making friends with the doctors, fellow patients, pondering mortality. And he said that all he can think about is how much he just wishes he could lift a pen and write his name in purple ink. He's just like, that's honestly my life goal right now. Like, I just want to be able to write my name in purple ink. And I don't know, I'm about 30% of the way through, and I think you should read it if you like authors writing about other authors. He name drops a lot. He talks about, like, all he can do is sit in bed and think about his life and about his art and things like that. And so he talks a lot about writing and then all of his author friends. So there's a lot of really interesting references, especially to like Salman Rushdie. So I think that that's quite interesting, and him talking about like, what is it to be a writer? What does writing feel like? I really like those parts, but so far I have not loved how he has treated the people in his life, specifically his fiance. So I'm not sure. I'm going to continue it for sure, but that one next up I have Open Heaven by Sean Hewitt. I have Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, which is so funny because I'm doing a group trip to Ireland in autumn, and we created a little group chat to like get to know each other. And multiple girls said that they were reading this, and right after they sent those messages, my hold came in on the library. So I was like, yes, I can join the book club. So yeah, Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. I'm also going to read Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. This one I'm unsure about because I've heard that it uses first, second, and third person POV. And I feel very traumatized by second person because of Harriet the Ninth. If you know, you know. So yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. I also have My Documents by Kevin Nguyen. I have The Pretender by Jo Harkin. This is another one that oh my God, I almost hit return. Jesus, I'm trying to say read with. That was really scary. I'm waiting for it to load onto Kindle. Another one I'm so excited for, it just came out, is Where Shadows Meet by Patrice Caldwell. I believe it's vampires. Don't have much more to say about that. I have The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I'm trying to work on a video potentially about books that sound like Lorde now that Lorde is back. So I will be reading a lot of like weird girl books, just as a warning. And then I have Reading the Waves by Lidia Yuknavitch, which I read the Chronology of Water a couple years ago by her, and I loved it. So I'm excited to read that. So those are all the books I have out from the library right now. I'm a little stressed, great stressed, happy stressed. What are all these? Oh my God, place hold. They added a new Isabel Allende book that I requested. There's always something going on Libby. All right. Now let me talk to you about my holds. The Persians. I actually got this a week or so ago, but I was like, I cannot. Too many books. So I actually pushed it back. So I will be getting it later, which thank you, Libby, for offering that as a service. I'm also waiting for When We Lost Our Heads. This felt like it could potentially be a Lord-esque book, so we're waiting for that. One that might seem a little random if you don't know what I do like in my free time is Harriet Tubman live in concert by Bob the Drag Queen. I do watch RuPaul's Drag Race. I do love Bob the Drag Queen. I'm so interested and confused by Harriet Tubman live in concert. So that's on the list. I also have Stop Me If You've Heard This One. Who recommended this? Oh no, somebody on Bookstagram, I'm so sorry, I forget who, basically said, I've never read anything like this, and I'm not gonna tell you anything. So I did what anyone would do naturally, and I went to the library and I put it on hold and I didn't look anything up. I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. And the cover gives away zero. So there's that. I have The Staircase in the Woods, little horror, summer horror for me. I have Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zeng or Jeng. And then finally, I just put this on hold. I am several months wait because I'm 20th in line for one copy, and it is Isabel Allende's My Name is Emilia del Valle. Oh my God, I think I just put this on hold because it was Isabel Allende. Let me read you the first thing. In San Francisco in 1866, I love reading about the 1800s. That's something you should know about me. An Irish nun, 2 check marks already, abandoned following a torrid relationship with a Chilean aristocrat, gives birth to a daughter named Emilia del Valle. Raised by a loving stepfather, Emilia grows into an independent thinker and a self-sufficient young woman. Oh, okay. All right. So that's what? There's another notice? Jesus Christ. Okay. Libby, calm down. You're just doing too much. Okay, so that is my non-physical oh my God, wait, hold on. That was just my library holds. I need to read Holy Terrors. So if you don't know, Margaret Owens is such a hilarious writer. She's a hilarious person. Follow her on Instagram. She's so funny. She wrote Little Thieves, it took me a while to get into it because the main character is, a presence, let's just say. But I ended up absolutely loving it so much that I refused to read the sequel until I knew the series was completed. And as of a month ago, it was completed, and I still haven't read it. And it's one of those things that I'm dying to read it, but my library is saying no. My library is saying you got to read some other ones first. So that is another thing that I will carve out time for, is The Little Thieves, Painted Devils, and Holy Terrors. I'm so excited. So I've kept you here too long. I'm sorry that I ranted a little bit, but yeah, I just support people being excited about reading. And if that means that you have a TBR that in a dozen lifetimes you could never finish, fantastic. But I hope you do. I hope you do get to read every book you want to read. But aren't we lucky to live in a world where there's no way we could read everything we want? It's a blessing and a curse. I'm going to go get water, I'm a little parched, and I'm going to read my memoir, finish it today. And I'll see. Oh, wait, hold on. I haven't talked to you in a bit. I'm so sorry. I'm going to put this, feel like a doctor. Excuse me. I'm putting the wide lens back on. I haven't spoken to you since I saw the Patti Smith. Basically, she came to Korea. I was unaware. Luckily, my friends are much more in the know. New York, sure. Why is Patti Smith in Korea? So it was unexpected. We were not in time to buy tickets for her talk, but we showed up. We were like, you know what? If we can just see her, if we could maybe get a signature, whatever, it'd be nice. And we wanted to see the exhibit anyways. And so we showed up, we lingered. I guess we looked nice. And at the very last second, Patty's team let us in at the very back. So we were able to stand and listen to her talk. We learned that Patti Smith secretly loves K-dramas. Like, would you ever expect? She made a reference. She answered a question and she said something about Under the Queen's Umbrella. And everyone kind of went, huh? And then later, I don't know how she brought it up herself, but she was like, yeah, I actually really love K-dramas. She loves Mr. Sunshine. Like historical dramas, I think. She loves the Korean language. She loves the Korean alphabet. It was really cool. So yeah, I have now been in the presence of Patti Smith. Nathan got to ask her a question. Just wanted to add that in as a weird thing that happened in my life. And yes. I'm going to do all the things that I just said I was going to do, and I will catch you in a moment. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about TBRs. What's on the top of your TBR? Should we not have TBRs? What's the harm in TBRs? I look forward to your answers. A new day. Goodness gracious. I come to you from rainy Seoul. Laundry's going if you hear it. We have had thunder, like no lightning, just rolling, long, loud thunder. Sorry, dangerous. All day, all morning. It just stopped, but it's still pouring. Ooh, there's already lots of water in there. Great. We can talk about my physical TBR. I'm excited about it. So totally not in the mood for summer, this weather, but I'm gonna make some tea and then we're gonna sit down and hash this out. Okay, welcome to the Madhouse. So we're gonna start with the piles that are in my living room. There's some on this shelf as well, but I put these here specifically because I wanted to read them. And I thought if they were sitting in my living room, staring at me, shaming me, I might pick them up a little bit earlier. This one, however, my pride and joy. This is a recent purchase because T. Kingfisher came out with all new covers for her Paladin. Actually, the Paladin's Hope one, which is I think the one I haven't read. So good. But yeah, I just got Paladin's Grace because that one's my favorite. It's the first one. So this is a reread. This doesn't need to be here shaming me. This I am working on another video for. Not going to spoil it for you. Just Kids is only in the pile because of Patti. Already read this. That can be put away. Heart Lamp. These are short stories. I believe this was up for the International Booker. I think that's why I picked it up. Very excited about this. In the 12 Stories of Heartlamp, Banu Mushtaq exquisitely captures the everyday lives of women and girls in Muslim communities in southern India. Praised for their dry and gentle humor, these portraits of family and community tensions testified to Mushtaq's years as a journalist and lawyer, in which she tirelessly championed women's rights and protested all forms of caste and religious oppression. Short stories as well, I feel like during summer, because for summer, I'm always feeling kind of lazy. Atmosphere here, at least in Korea, is you never know what you're going to get in terms of weather. So just depending on my mood, I feel like short stories, I can easily pick them up, put them down. I don't feel weird about it if like the atmosphere isn't right, you know? So Heart Lamp is going to be read. I picked this up a while ago. I really want to start this. This is by Che Jin-young, translated by Soje. It's called To the Warm Horizon, and it is like a dystopian post-apocalyptic, I believe. A group of Koreans are making their way across the disease-ravaged landscape, but to what end? To the Warm Horizon shows how, in the post-apocalyptic world, humans will still seek purpose, kinship, and even intimacy. Focusing on two young women who find love against all odds, Che Jin-young creates a dystopia where people are trying to find direction after having their worlds turned upside down. Yeah, this came out a while ago, and I don't know why. This came out in 2017, and I don't know why I haven't heard of it before. But yeah, To the Warm Horizon. I'll have all these listed in the description box. This is another one that's going to take me a really long time to read. I find that in summer, I think it's because I've trained myself with like school summer reading lists and things like that. I convince myself that I'm going to read a bunch of classics or like books that take a little bit more energy to digest. And that's not usually what happens. So this lofty goals, but really I'm just sharing books that have interested me so that maybe you'll find them interesting too. So this is The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. It says, Fernando Pessoa was many authors in one. He attributed his prolific writings to a wide range of alternate selves. When he died in 1935, Pessoa left behind a trunk filled with unfinished and unpublished writings, among which were the remarkable pages that made up his posthumous masterpiece, The Book of Disquiet, an astonishing work that, in George Steiner's words, gives to Lisbon the haunting spell of Joyce's Dublin or Kafka's Prague. I have no idea what this is about. I believe it's called a factless autobiography. And it's written in like these really, really short chapters. So I don't know. But I'll put that in a slightly separate pile. Me and everybody else. I want to read Madonna in a Fur Coat. This is so short, but I find that books, is this like 100 something pages? Damn. Yeah. I find that when a book is under 150 pages, it takes me so much longer to read, and I don't know why. So yeah, this is a magical novel about a Turkish man who falls in love with an artist in 1920s Berlin. It recreates a vanished era and dramatizes a doomed relationship with verve, depth, and poignancy. The result is a miniature masterpiece. So yeah, me and everyone, Madonna in a Fur Coat. This one is going in my absolutely yes, I can read it. And then why do I do this to myself? I walked past this book for months, if not years, honestly, in the bookstore. And I finally decided to get it because it's beautiful. This is Out by Quirino. Someone spoiled it. I'm actually really surprised who spoiled it. It was like not someone I know. It's like an influencer that I follow. And they spoiled it in their stories. And I was like, what? So I'm kind of pissed about that, but I'm still excited to read it. It's a Japanese thriller. I believe it's about a bunch of women. Let's see. In the Tokyo suburbs, 4 women work the graveyard shift at a factory. Burdened with heavy debts, alienated from husbands and children, they all secretly dream of a way out. Out is a psychologically taut and unflinching examination of the darkest recesses of the human soul and what makes the most ordinary person do the unimaginable. Yeah, this one is like what? Yeah, it's about 500 pages. So I'm gonna find space for this, but this might be a late summer read. Oh, okay. I have to read this. This is Anne Carson's The Autobiography of Red. I've had this sitting on my shelf for a very long time. And I'm currently reading the Waves, as I mentioned, by Lidia. Oh my God, her last name just literally fell out of my mind. Author of Chronology of Water. And she referenced this like 3 or 4 times in the book. So that is a sign. And it's written in prose, right? It's a novel in verse. Yeah. So top of the list. What else do I have in here? Oh, okay. Let me move you so you can see the chaos that I'm working with. Okay. Did you see it? You saw it, right? Sitting at the very top of this pile. Remember in January when I said I was going to read The Bluest Eye? It's May. The Bluest Eye. We're putting this at the top of my to read pile. I was lucky enough to meet KX Song when she was in Korea, and she gave me this beautiful copy of The Night Ends with Fire. I actually read this as an ARC and reviewed it and really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a fantasy Mulan retelling. The way she described how the story came to her and how it just kind of fell out of her made me love the story even more. I love when an author tangent. You're here for the tangents. I hope. I was in Bath 2 summers ago. I was in the UK. When we were in Bath, we stopped at Toppings & Co. And Shannon, I'm so bad with names, the author of The Priory of the Orange Tree, she was giving a talk because she was re-releasing The Bone Season, which I had read, and I had some notes. I didn't really love it. And her entire event was talking about all of the edits that she made to The Bone Season because she wrote it when she was like 16. And now it's like the 10-year anniversary, maybe more even. And she had some things she wanted to change. And the way that she talked about the book, there were just so many things I didn't even realize. And it made me want to read The Bone Season again. Like basically all of the things she didn't like about her first draft or her, first publishing were all of the things I didn't like. And I was like, Shannon, great. I will love this book now. So anyway, it's just fun to hear authors talk about their process, and it often makes me love the book even more. We also have coming out this August, I have the arc of the sequel to this, which is The Dragon Wakes with Thunder. I'm so excited. August 19th. And the way that The Night Ends with Fire ended, I wasn't sure if there was going to be a sequel. I was sort of like, is she going to leave us here? She could, but she's not. And that's great. So yeah, The Dragon Wakes with Thunder coming out in August. So I hope to read those as well. What else? I feel like the rest is kind of under control here. Oh. I have had this. This is my stinky book. I forget which video I mentioned it in, but I purchased a used book and it stunk to the high heavens. Like it wasn't like cigarette smoke. I can't even put my finger on what the smell was, but it just wasn't good. It kind of smelled like paper, but in a really bad way, just an overwhelming smell of like ink and paper, perhaps, which normally I'm down with. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Stuck this puppy in a Ziploc baggie in the freezer. Good as new. Scentless, in fact, I would say. Not a smell. So this is Between Two Fires. I forget who I heard about this from, but I heard about this a really long time ago. And I've had it in my house for quite a while. All of a sudden, I'm seeing more and more people talk about it. I'm sort of like, is this my sign? Like, I've been sleeping on this for so long. I tried to start it and I realized it wasn't exactly the right time. I believe this is like medieval horror. It's kind of like a crusade. We follow a young girl, a priest, and a knight, I think. This trio will undertake a journey across a medieval French countryside, decimated by war and plague, encountering along the way martyrs and saints, brigands and fools, and the damned and their hellish masters. They have little chance to save mankind, but they might, just might, save their own souls. I have no idea. But people just said that this was unlike anything they've ever read before, and they really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'd like that. I'll take one. Oh my gosh, am I like in control? Is the rest fine? The rest is all stuff I've read or like don't have plans to read immediately, right? That makes me feel really good. My only other thing for this shelf is I really, really want to do a reread of A Wrinkle in Time. I have the physical of A Wind in the Door and A Swiftly Tilting Planet. I really want to do a full reread. I did it a couple years ago and I loved it and I just want to go back. Love A Wrinkle in Time, forever and always. That's also on the list. Looking at my other shelf, I've had Maurice by E.M. Forster on my to-read list for so long, so there's that. But other than that, I think that shelf is under control. That shelf has all been read, actually. Wow, great job, Carrie. That has all been read except for Notes of a Native Son, which I don't want to rush into. I'm already like in the midst of a James Baldwin. So I'm in no rush for that one, I think. Awesome. Oh, it makes me feel great. Let's go into my bedroom, shall we? Also, thank you for sticking with me. I don't know what you're doing. So many of you are crocheting, but if you just have me on in the background, I'm honored, by the way. I know that this is a rambly video that has no structure and I'm just like talking you through the books that I have in my house, but I'm honored that you would choose to spend that time with me. Hopefully I'm giving you some good ideas of what to read. So in here, the books that I see upon waking every single day, I do have a lot that I want to read. I'm not going to mention them all because this would go on forever, but one that I'm really kind of interested in reading, I've talked about it before, but I want to read Perfume by Patrick Suskind. Can't do the umlaut. Because this summer I'm going to the south of France and we may or may not pass through Grasse, which is like the perfume center of the world. And a bit of this story takes place in Grasse, if I am not mistaken. But yeah, it's about a murderer. It's about a crazy man who kills women and turns them into perfume. So what else do I want to read? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is immensely high on my list, not only because I just want to read it, but also because I have had it from Nathan for so long. I need to start he gave me so many books to read and I need to start getting to them. So Nathan, I'm so sorry. I want to read The Sacred and Profane Love Machine, the wittiest, profoundest, and most compulsive Black comedy by Iris Murdoch. Yeah, just even from the very first page, I love it. I'm also trying to read a lot more Irish authors this year since I'm going to Ireland at the end of this year, but I'll read you the beginning. It says, "The boy was there again this evening, and the dogs were not barking. David stopped in the act of pulling his curtain against the dark twilight and gazed intently down into the garden. The boy was standing under the acacia tree, just on the near side of the fence that divided the Hood House garden from the orchard. The figure was so still, so merged into the blotchy, spotty half-darkness of the scene, that David would have been at a loss to explain how it was that he was so sure that it was a boy, and that the boy was staring at the house." The Sacred and Profane Love Machine. Yes, indeed. What else do I have? Okay, I don't want to, this has been set up quite well, so I don't want to ruin it, but I also have The Go-Between by L.P. Hartley. I got it at a used bookstore. Feels very summery, I believe. Ooh, okay, books that I want to finish. I started this, but I haven't finished it, is All the Beauty in the World. I think I mentioned it before, but this is a memoir about a museum guard for the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And so far, it's actually very much about grief and about losing his older brother to cancer at a very young age, and just kind of how that was the catalyst for him becoming a museum guard. And yeah, I love his writing, and I love how each chapter is structured, and I just have been kind of taking this bite by bite, and I really love it. So going to finish that. And then I really want to start The Hollows. I don't know if you can see it. This was actually given to me by the author who lives in Seoul. I believe it is Sapphic Witches, Girls Standing in a Graveyard with Swords is the cover. And the back just says, "Welcome to Misttown, where witches wield swords, ghosts wander the streets, and blowing out a candle could spell your demise." I know nothing else about it, but I'm very excited. And again, it's fun to kind of peek behind the curtain as she writes and edits more work. So yeah, I was very honored to have it hand delivered to me. So I want to read it. And it's such a cool color too. I love the mint, and it just sits there staring at me every day, every night. Is that kind of it? I guess. I also have The Hobbit. Low key kind of feel like summer is very much a good time to curl up and read The Hobbit. So that might be happening. Anything else? I think I should stop there. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let me go get my tea and collect my thoughts. Okay, so that's my TBR as it stands right now. I'm very much a mood reader, so I'm really happy that I have a bunch of different genres going on. I'm just happy to constantly have something to look forward to. I feel like I'd be very sad if I didn't have a TBR, you know? So yeah, I didn't mean to rant in the beginning. I was just kind of shocked by what I was seeing. I think the algorithm was just feeding me a lot of it. Even after I recorded the intro to this video, I saw another video that was talking about like why are you getting books, even if it's a library haul? Okay, so we're not talking about overconsumption, right? Even if it's a library haul, why are you getting so many books? You're never going to be able to read that much. Like, what? Like, oh, how do I describe this? There's just this icky feeling of we have within the book community undeniably people who are like readers just for the aesthetic. Whatever. But then there's like this other subgenre of readers, which are the people who judge or like devote a lot of their time to judging the readers who are readers for the aesthetic. Does that make sense? Like I'm here reading books. I'm reading because I enjoy them, or sometimes I don't. That's okay. I'm reading because I love the act of reading, regardless of if I love the book or not. And I'm sharing my thoughts. I don't spend, other than right now, because I'm mad about it, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about how other people read. And again, I think that the overconsumption conversation is nuanced. And I'm not talking about that in this, right? Because there are actual repercussions environmentally, etc. But when it comes to judging other things, especially just like your TBR, I've seen so much conversation about readers than I have about books. Like the right way to be a reader, the right, you know? Editing Gary here, just so that we are crystal clear. When I say I don't like people judging readers, this is not about people talking about how certain people don't read diversely. That is something we should be talking about. People who are reading and promoting problematic authors. That is something we can be talking about. I'm literally just talking about numbers of books. And yeah, like it's literally just numbers. Like people aren't mad about the books in people's TBRs. They are mad about the number of books in your TBR, or the number of books you claim to read, or the number of audiobooks you know, that's what I'm talking about. So like reading is political. It's important what you read, but not how much and how you talk about what you're hoping to read. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to be crystal clear. Thank you. And I also feel like people are confusing overconsumption. When I think of overconsumption, I'm talking about buying a shit ton of books, which Again, I don't really have a definition for how much is too much. I'm not going to talk about it. But I've seen people talking about overconsumption in terms of just how much you want to, like, consuming books. Like, you're reading too many books. This is again with like judging people for reading speed, or, you know, in this same video that was talking about TBRs, they were talking about audiobooks and like, well, I'm sorry, but if you're telling people that you read 100 books and 80 of them are audiobooks, it's just not the same. And it's like, why do you care? I personally don't set reading goals. I only know how many books I read per month when I am making my reading wrap up at the end of the month, typing all the titles in or whatever. I don't keep track because I just love reading. And I just feel like the people who are judging how other people read and judging people's reading goals and judging the number of books that they read and how they're reading, and is it audio, is it physical, is it ebook, is it this? You're wasting so much time that you could spend reading. If you find yourself really wrapped up in someone saying that they read 20 books in a month and you just, it just bothers you because you know that they were, you know, half of those were audiobooks, step away from the screen, go read a book. That is my medicine.
What somebody else eats don't make you shit.
I'm so sorry. I'm so negative. I just really, like, I don't engage too much with bookish stuff unless it's reviews of books I've usually already read. As you can see, I like to go into things pretty much blind. So I don't engage too heavily in like bookish discourse, but I just got wrapped up in it this past month. And you know what? April, if you watch my reading wrap up, the last couple weeks of April were not great for me because my concentration was bad. I wasn't reading a lot. And me not reading and not enjoying what I was reading matched up perfectly with me getting kind of angry and going down rabbit holes in the bookish community. I hope that maybe my TBR helped you find a book that sounds interesting so we can all read and critique a book instead of critiquing other people reading. And again, if I'm really missing something about the harm of TBRs, if I'm missing something, let me know. Again, overconsumption, a nuanced conversation that I'm not having. Just tell me why you don't like TBRs and how they're harming your reading journey. But I hope that your reading journey is lovely going forward. I hope that we have a great summer. Let me know what you are reading. I know that I missed a ton, and because I use mostly my library, I know that I'm going to be reading so many more books that I have not mentioned here, but these are going to just be floating in the background of my mind, hopefully finished before autumn runs around. Where is my copy? Wait a damn minute. I meant to say that I have Bonjour Tristesse because I was going to read it when I go to France this summer. And Cherin, who you should follow her YouTube, she just talked about I'm going with her to France. And she mentioned it on her book. Where is it? Okay, I'm going to find that. She mentioned it on her summer reading list. And I was like, okay, I guess we're buddy reading in France. This is excellent. So yeah, I hope that if you read alone, if you buddy read, I hope that you have a great summer. So once again, thank you so much to Masterclass, Billy Collins, my man, N.K. Jemisin, my girl. You can listen to them as podcasts. You can watch them. Billy Collins has such great body language. You can use my code to get a lovely 15% off of your subscription, which is usually $10 per month, billed annually, of Masterclass. So many incredible courses outside of the bookish world. Check it out. Makes me feel more confident going into books that are a little bit out of my comfort zone, you know? So yeah, let's read some weird, exciting books this summer. And I can't wait to report back on a lot of these. Maybe I'll start one today. Maybe I'll start the one that I didn't show you on screen because I'm filming a video soon. I think I'll start that one today. So anyway, hope you're having a truly, truly wonderful day. So sorry for the rant. I promise that my next video will be funny. Maybe that's a hint. It will be lighter. It will be more positive. I don't know why. I love reading and I love readers, and I just don't get the judgment sometimes. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Let me know what you're reading as always. See you later. Bye.